It is common for landscape designers to work with architects, and architects will often be able to send a drawing file to our landscape designer in order to get an accurate base plan. It can save a great deal of time. Those files from applications that Autodesk have developed, applications like AutoCAD and Revit, a three-dimensional architectural design tool, all produce drawings with an extension DWG. And one thing we would suggest is, before you do anything else, but if you get hold of the DWG, use a free tool from Autodesk called TrueView, and I have it here. You can download it and install it and run it. What it enables you to do is to look at the drawing and experiment with it, move around in it. You can see here, if I go down to the bottom, we can flick. We're in model space at the moment, but there are a whole lot of layout spaces as well working across here. Now, what we're interested in as a landscape designer is just we want to find a base plan. I would suggest sort of using your mouse and rolling out, and we get a quick view here. We'll go back to model, get rid of the layout space away. Notice we've got all sorts of elements. So here's the XY icon here, but it's a bit like having blocks scattered around your landscape drawing and then referring to them in layout space. So it's complex drawing, this DWG. But what we do want to look for, what we're going to look for, is we just want a base plan. And if we maybe come across, I'm looking now, this one here looks, that's just a layout of it looks like a fully dimensioned base plan, I think. That might be a very useful one to experiment with. The cyan line is the footprint of the house. It darts in and out, and we've got dimensions here, accurate dimensions, even notes to the landscape designer. So we could go for something like that, but also note that there are some contour lines in here. If I roll out further, over here, this looks like the drawing from a surveyor where we can see clearly the contour bands. So the point that I'm making is being able to zoom in and out of the DWG file. I haven't had to buy any extra software, but I've got a reasonable idea of what's in it, and now I want to export a version of AutoCAD that I can perhaps work with in other tools. And this tool, TrueView, enables me to use this tool up here called DWG Convert. So if I click on it, we're able to load a file and then convert to other formats. I would advise you to convert to AutoCAD 2004 in place. That'll mean it will change the DWG to have the same extension, but one should be able to open it in some of the other conversion tools. So my plea is look first at TrueView to get a good understanding of what is happening in that environment. So I would be very interested in finding this one here and writing that out as a base plan. And as long as it's got the dimensions on it, we can check that the conversion has gone across reasonably easily. So my next step is to convert this whole drawing into a version of the DWG from Autodesk that is not as complex as this one. I'm trying to get a simpler version so I can move that into other conversion tools. I want to save it as a DXF file, and TrueView doesn't allow that. So what I'm going to do is an intermediate step. I can write this file out as AutoCAD release 14, which is a very early, maybe 15 years ago, the file format of DXF. So I'm saying I've got a name for it, DXF, which is a bit of a misnomer. I come over here and I can set, I'm going to create a backup folder as I do it. I'm going to check and fix any errors and set the default plotter to none, purge the drawings. That'll make it smaller. And I'll say, okay, we're set there. And we need now to load the file. Close here. Now load the file. And it's this master file DWG. Open it up and now convert. So that should all be happening. You may not have noticed, but it was going to, the files will go into my OneDrive folder. Keep folders as is. It's going to go into my OneDrive and Documents folder. So that's where the conversion should be. So now I'm going to leave all of this and go and see if I can find that file. And what we'll then do is move it through one of the other independent programs that's also free that will convert that into a DXF file ready to go into gCADPlus. Well, before we do that, we'll go into the ODA converter and we'll say yes to all, and we're going to process all the drawings and put them into a release 12 format. You can see it's writing that master plan file out now. So once again, I'll get back to you when it's done. Well, just for good measure, I'm saving it as release 12 ASCII DXF as well as the DWG. And here is the result. We've clearly got the right area, although it's the image needs to be mirrored when we eventually work with it. But what we can do now is scroll out a little and then remove everything else other than this particular drawing and clean things up, and we should have a relatively small file that is quick and easy to use. So I'm just zooming out, so we clearly can remove an awful lot in here. So there was the one that came across. All of this information here, apart from what we're after, needs to be or can be removed, and then we'll select that bit and mirror it and hopefully then be able to read the dimensions that are there. So I'll go ahead and do that.